Well, good morning, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming to you from gorgeous San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, purposeful coach and speaker in the world. Touchy subject this morning, and it's never my intention to hurt anybody's feelings simply for the reason of having feelings hurt. I have intention in all I say and all I do, and I do recognize that for most people, significant change will occur when one of two things has happened in their life. Either they are touched by inspiration or they are touched by desperation. Desperation is a much quicker teacher because it puts a demand on you and requires you to show up and do what you got to do to get done what you got to get done to get through what you're going to get through. It puts the demand on you. You don't have the control in the situation. When it comes to inspiration, you have the opportunity to choose what information to take into your mind, take into your life, what interpretation you're going to give to a situation so that you can be self-motivated to move in the direction that you intend to move if you tend to be paralyzed or gripped with over-analysis paralysis, this horrific disease of the mediocre that weighs all of the cons over the pros and refuses to take action because there's no guarantee of success. And we don't want you to be any of those in any of those categories. What are you made of is the question I have for you this morning. What are you made of? You know, it's an interesting thing when you look at lemons. Lemons are a fascinating deal. You know, there's some really bad lemons out there. And yet you would not know necessarily until you squeeze the lemon. You see, what's inside comes out when it's squeezed. What's inside the grape comes out when it's squeezed. What's inside comes out when it's squeezed. So that's my question to you. What are you made of? When you're squeezed, when you're in the press, when you're under stress, when you're under pressure, when life is coming at you from all angles, what comes out of you? What comes out of you? Because what comes out of you is what was in you. Do you have the ability to change what comes out of you by deciding what is in you? You absolutely do. If you'll go back a few videos when Angela and I did a team meeting called The Power of Changing Your Life with 3 words. It is a live video I did from a team meeting at our Keller Williams Heritage office where we talk about how you can begin to restructure and reframe how you show up in life with some daily diligent work. Not that hard, very simple, but many times the most simple principles that yield the greatest results are overlooked because of their simplicity, because everybody thinks things have to be super complicated, and they really don't. Most people just lack the consistent discipline to execute daily in order to achieve their goals. You know, most of the failure occurs not from making the mistakes or the learning curves along the way. The failure comes from quitting before you reach the goal. So what are you made of is the question that I have for you. Now, before you get your feelings hurt too bad and you go, good Lord, the last time I was under massive stress, massive pressure, Steve, you don't even want to know what came out of me. Well, you don't have to tell me because I actually know, because you are a human being. You should see what comes out of me from time to time. One of my kids got it on video. It ain't good. Let me just tell you this. If I get big one day, I can get a lot of trouble for what's going to come out in that video with what came out of me when I had the washing machine broken down for a week and a half, and there's 8 people in our household, and I had 4 teenagers who were loud and rebellious, and we were driving to the laundromat on a Saturday, and in that squeeze, what came out of me was not the sweetest of lemon juice. So I know what comes out of you when you're squeezed. The hope I intend to give you today is the time to reflect on your power and ability to work on what you choose to come outside of you. I love what Jesus said to a couple Pharisees one time when they noticed that his disciples weren't washing their hands before they ate. These guys were just, so religious. Do you know anybody like that? They're so religious that they don't have any love in their heart. They don't have any grace and mercy, forgiveness and kindness and all these wonderful things that God is all about. They just have these rules and regulations and attitudes and judge you because you're not operating according to the level of standard that they feel is important. Well, that's what these guys are doing. Your disciples do not wash their hands before they eat. That is unclean. That's unclean. That's against the law. And Jesus, I just love the stuff he'd say. He was like, really guys, it's not what goes into your body that makes you unclean, because what goes into your body ultimately comes out. It's what comes out of you that makes you unclean. It's what's coming out of you. What comes out of you That's what makes you clean or unclean. You know, I heard something from my favorite teacher, Graham Cook, yesterday that was very powerful. And he said this, you know, the only thing that the devil can really do to mess you up is make you like him. The only thing he can really do to mess you up is make you like him. What do you mean by that, Steve, you might ask? Well, here's what Graham conveyed. He said, you know, you can destroy the enemy with peace, with joy, with love, with kindness. You see, because he is none of those things. These are all fruits or attributes or characteristics that accompany the life of a person who has a full, joyful, adventurous, and vibrant walk with the living God. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. The old devil doesn't have any of that. What does he have? He has anxiety. He has frustration. He has depression. He has worry. He has anger. And the very best the old enemy can do is to make you like him. Who are you more like today? Who are you more like when you're under pressure? Are you like your Heavenly Father who walks in love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control? Or are you more like the enemy? Or as I like to call him, the enema, because he's foolish. But that's a story for another time. Are you angry, depressed, frustrated, anxious, worried, freaked out, tensed out, mean, bitter, ugly, unforgiving? Only you can answer that question, and I would like for you to ask yourself, so how can you change what comes out of you when you're squeezed? You can be intentional about what you take into your mind, what you take into your heart, what you take in by way of words and relationships and friendships and connections and environments. You get to choose. You are the armed guard at the gate of your mind. You get to decide what comes in and what comes out. Most people have left their watch. They're not even standing guard at the gate. They're just not even there. You have the opportunity to decide what comes in and what stays out. Does it require a little bit of discipline? Yes. Is it hard? Sometimes. Is it worth it? All day, every day. What are you made of? When you get squeezed, what comes out of you? If you don't like what comes out, let's get to work on changing what goes in. Have a great Friday, guys.